Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nige here once again, and then this is gonna be another tier list. So this time we have have the incredible, the savage, the green Goliath himself, and occasionally gray Goliath, at the one and only Incredible Hulk. So we got a bunch of looks for the Hulk. He's had a number of looks and appearances throughout the years, but then we also have our tiers down here. So in our top tier, we have the incredible tier, meaning it's a really good look, really good attire. Or then we have A tier, which is maybe not the top tier, but still really good. Then B tier is kind of the middle ground, not great, not horrible, but good or okay. C tier is almost at the bottom. It's very meh. One or two things keeping it from the bottom. And then consumed with rage, meaning it's a terrible look, a terrible attire, and it sucks. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And truth be told, when it comes to the Hulk, a lot of these are going to, like, they're not going to change with a few exceptions. They're not going to change drastically. Like the Hulk's attire is very, it stays mostly consistent with some changes every now and then. And there is one or two drastic changes, but otherwise, it's not going to vary wildly like some of the other attires from different heroes and stuff that we've seen previously. We're, but without further ado, we're going to get right into it. So, starting with this first one, excuse me, that being his more so original look. Apparently, if I remember correctly, the head part of the Hulk here was a mask. As that being in comics, because his head didn't change the way that the rest of the body changed, and so it did look kind of weird. It doesn't quite look as weird this time around, but it did look kind of. It did have a very interesting look to it. Of course, the continuity would change later on, where now the whole body he changes as well as the head. But as for this, obviously it's the original, and it still looks pretty. He still looks pretty cool. Hulk looks nice and big and beefy. He looking very angry, of course. Versus in the style. Well, it's almost a simple style, but it does look pretty cool. And I noticed, and maybe it's more so this image, but pants not as ripped as they would be. So having not as ripped attire, like the rips and stuff, does give it that little extra flair. But otherwise, the non-ripped one still looks pretty cool. So we are starting out with B for the original look for the Hulk there. But then next up is going to be the Gray Hulk, the other or the other infamous is a, not really infamous but recognizable Hulk look, and I forget exactly how the gray look came about. I believe it's because as they had ran out of green ink, or I think it might have started out gray and then switched to green. I forget, but I think the story is that they ran out of green ink, or they accidentally colored him gray and gave him the pants. But the Gray Hulk kind of has a if I'm not mistaken, kind of has like a different look and kind of a somewhat different backstory as opposed to his green counterparts. But the gray still looks pretty good. Pretty much just similar to this one, which is a nice little throwback there, showing like Bruce Banner transforming into who this time the Gray Hulk. Hulk. So kind of following the same kind of premise as this one. The pants not as ripped, but it still looks pretty good for the most part. So Gray Hulk. Between the two, I think maybe it's because of familiarity, but I usually tend to stick with the green one. But the gray one still looks alright, so I'll give it a B. But then next up is going to be Joe Fixit. So, kind of a variation of the Gray Hulk, except more of a gangster, more of a mobster. Is Joe Fixit, and dig that suit. That's a good looking suit. Like who definitely plays that mobster look, but of course with it being the Hulk, giving it that extra size, so it looks big and looks intimidating while also looking suave. So Joe Fixit there, I think still looks pretty cool. So I think. I, I think I'll still give it a B. He do get some extra style points from me for Joe Fixit, but otherwise I'll give it a B. But then next up is going to be, hey, of course the mobsters do like to dress nice, of course. nothing wrong with that. But next up is World War Hulk. So pretty much like the Gladiator Hulk. Another very recognizable look for the Hulk. When he became Gladiator Hulk, had his own planet and everything. But it still looks pretty sick with like the armor and the spikes and stuff, looking really menacing, and even the design of the Hulk here are looking pretty solid as well. With all like the veins and stuff, and obviously it makes sense because they add more attention to detail as things go on. But for it to look like a lot more veiny, the Hulk looks afterwards to look a lot more veiny and a lot more like intense. I think really adds to it. But this one I'll actually give an A. It looks really really good in my opinion. But then next up, and of course, do keep in mind these are all my opinions. So if you disagree with any of these, that is totally fine. But then next up is Doc Green. Yes, so this is Smart Hulk. Before the MCU did it, it pretty much like a Professor Hulk here in Doc Green. And I think kind of similar premise to what they do for the MCU, where Bruce Banner and the Hulk kind of urge into his intelligence, either that or the Hulk gains intelligence, which the Hulk does have, and that's what I think makes him I don't want to carry the whole image, but that I think is what makes him such an interesting character. Is the Hulk is very much that pure rage, but it's also pretty clever enough to not let Banner kill him, and clever and smart enough to not want to not want to let Banner take over. Of course, Bruce Banner still being a genius, but that I think is very much like it's indicative of why the Hulk is such an interesting character for a lot of people, myself included. But nevertheless, it doesn't do anything too crazy, so it's going to go in B. But then next up is going to be Maestro. So this is a futuristic version of the Hulk. Hulk very well traveled. Well, as for his attire here, it looks pretty cool. With like the vest and the pants and the boots and his necklace and kind of that armor and of course the gray hair and everything, looking and really solid there. Maestro, another very recognizable Hulk look here is Maestro. So Maestro is going to go in A. He also does look pretty cool over there. But then next up is the Immortal Hulk, and this Hulk looks really cool with like kind of the similar premise to the Hulk attires we've seen, such like this one, but but giving it that veiny-ness. There's that veiny-ness I was talking about, making it look really intense, and the smile and everything, and the yellow eyes. Oh, it looks really cool. And I heard the Immortal Hulk story was a really good one, so I'll have to check that out at some point. But as for the Immortal Hulk look, I also honestly, this one might be our first. You know what? Yeah, this I think is our first Incredible tier. Like it plays off the classic attire, but also makes it look like really nice and intense. And a lot of it does come down to the art style. Like what we've kind of seen with some of these tier lists is that the art style can either sometimes make or break the look, and I think it definitely helps it out here. But then next up is the Red Hulk. Now, admittedly, I kind of debated putting Red Hulk in there because this technically isn't Bruce Banner. This is General Thaddeus, aka Thunderbolt Ross, which that is some cruel irony. A man who spent so long going after the Hulk, hating the Hulk, but to become a Hulk himself. But I debated whether or not put him in there because it's not Bruce Banner. Or plus, if I had to put him in there, I would have to put people like A-Bomb or Scar or in and ultimately I decided it's close enough to where I'll throw him in. Plus, I don't know if I'll necessarily do a Red Hulk tier list at all, unless you guys want to see it. But otherwise, I don't know if I'll necessarily do a Red Hulk. It is very memorable, iconic Hulk, in more ways than one. Not just with the Red Hulk, but also with just General Ross as a character. But Yeah, so I debated whether or not to put him in. Ultimately, I decided I go for it. As for the design of Red Hulk, I do who like it with like the red and the black, act like filled with rage. Even though it is kind of weird because General Ross normally has the gray hair and that mustache. Ash, so where's the mustache go, and why is his hair turned black? Who really knows? I'm sure it's explained in the comics, but as for the Red Hulk, it does still look pretty cool. Also, I'll put it in and I accidentally brought the whole image with it, but that's okay. Hey, so it'll still a really cool look, so I'll give it an A there. But then next up is Old Man Logan. So I can't get for the sake of well, this video isn't monetized right now because my channel's too small for it. But if I ever do become monetized and want to monetize the channel, well, just for that purpose, and when it comes to the content on YouTube, and kind of their policies when it comes to that. I can't really go into too much detail about some of the things that our boy Hulk was getting up into in the Old Man Logan story. We're just here for the look, and it is very interesting. Like the gray hairs, how it looks very grotesque, and that's Old Man Banner right there. It was interesting. It makes sense because Wolverine and Hulk have such a storied rivalry. So it makes sense for Old Man Hulk to be the main villain, at least for the first Old Man Logan book. I know they made subsequent books in the Old Man Logan universe, but it looks pretty cool. Kind of looking and looking kind of gross, but still looking pretty cool for the most part. Right, Old Man Logan version of the Hulk. I'm gonna put in B, or should I just call him Old Man Hulk? I'll stick with Old Man Logan. It's from the Old Man Logan storyline, so I'll stick with it. But yeah, it's gonna go in B for me. But then next up is let's see, Age of Apocalypse Hulk. So kind of a take on the Gray Hulk look here, 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 and oh, excuse me. It doesn't do anything too like insane or crazy or out there, but it is still it does play on the Gray Hulk look. So it does look okay there. So I will put it in B. Yeah, so it's gonna go in B. Is Age of Apocalypse Hulk, but then next up is going to be Age of X Hulk. This one is interesting. Kind of like the standard Hulk look, except has a missile strapped to his back, which is interesting. But then also the orange veins going throughout. Out, out, the orange veins do look pretty cool. Otherwise, is nothing like super out there, at least for me. This one I think. I will put in. I'll always put in B. For this one. But then next up is going to be. Next up is going to be the Breaker Apart Heart Hulk. So this Hulk story gets kind of interesting. So this is this technically isn't Bruce Banner either, but if I was reading up about it, and if I remember correctly, this is the one where Bruce Banner and the Hulk are separated, but the one below all takes over the Hulk's body. He pretty much snatched it from Bruce and takes over, and then becomes a Herald of Galactus, which is kind of what we see here. But this is a really cool look with like the light, with like the lights and kind of the armor and everything, and then Hulk looking all cosmic and cool and stuff like that. This one and I do really dig. I don't know if it's enough for A, but it is still pretty cool. So this one I will put in. I'll be generous. I'll put it in A. It's still a pretty cool look. But then next up is. Next up is going to be Bullet Points Hulk. So this Hulk is actually Peter Parker. If I'm getting this right, this Hulk is Peter Parker. This is a universe where Peter Parker is the one on bombarded with the gamma radiation, so he becomes the Hulk, and then and Bruce Banner, while treating Peter, actually becomes Spider-Man after being bit by the radioactive spider. So he and Peter Parker essentially switch personalities. They do the one Peter and Cleveland meme from Family Guy, essentially, with their superhero personas. But as for Peter Parker's Hulk, well, it looks mostly the same for the most part, or so still pretty cool. You got the yellow shirt and everything, but it still looks pretty cool. So this one is going to go in. This one's going to go in B as well. This one's pretty cool, so I will put in B. But then next up is going to be Earth 6160. So another kind of variation of the Gray Hulk look. Look, not as veiny as the other one, but still the muscles are defined. It does look pretty cool in that regard. So this one, I am going to put in. I am going to put this one in B. Okay, so it's gonna go in B there. But then next up is going to be. Is going to be the Earth X Hulk, and this one's interesting. This one looks a lot more like a gorilla this time around, which it is kind of interesting. I know it's a little hard to see, but seeing like the shadow of it and everything, you can tell kind of going for like the gorilla or like the primate type look for the Hulk. Hulk often has been compared to a gorilla before, but this one I think is also pretty cool and kind of interesting in a way. So I don't necessarily know if it's A, but I will at least put it in. I'll at least put it in B. He's still a very interesting look and very interesting what they did with that design. I know, but then next up is House of M. So this one, if I'm not mistaken, is the whole Hulk tribe, which is pretty cool. But seeing the Hulk, he's got the clothing there, the real clothing, as well as like the paint, and he's got the spear and everything, and looking pretty solid there. So, this one I think. This one I think it does look pretty cool, but this one I think I will still at least put in B. Yeah, so I'll at least put in B. But then next up is the Infernal Hulk. So this one, if I remember correctly, but Hulk and Bruce Banner are separated again, and except this one, Bruce Banner becomes Sorcerer Supreme, and meanwhile the Hulk is sent to hell, but gets bonded with the demon and comes back as this demonic monstrosity. And it does look pretty cool. Like, it definitely looks cool. It looks intense. As you can see, like that demonic look for it. It's got the red and the orange, and it's pretty veiny and stuff, and looks pretty cool. Definitely one of the didn't mean to do that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain there, but so it looks pretty cool. Also, this one I am going to put in. This one I'll. Yeah. I think B, but partially also want to put in A. It does look pretty cool. Nah, I don't know if it's enough for A, so we'll at least put it in B. It's not bad. I don't know if it's A necessarily, but then next up is 2099 Hulk. So this one isn't Bruce Banner. A lot of non-Bruce Banner Hulks, but this one they kind of try to resurrect the Hulk. This is a totally different guy, but they pretty much turn him into a Hulk. He's turned into a Hulk essentially. But this one does look pretty cool. Almost kind of reminds me of the Lizard a little bit, but he's got like the Hulk properties, but definitely looks kind of in that like that Lizard or like Venom almost. So this one and also does look pretty sick. This is a really cool design. It's a really intense design, but I don't think it's more than a B. So I will put it there. So far, C and Consumer Rage are still empty. interesting, but we'll see if that changes at all. Because next up is the totally awesome Hulk, aka Amadeus Cho. Oh, so, kind of kind of the interesting look. Look, look, big and buff and veiny like the Hulk. Hulk, obviously with the different hairdo and then the purple and gold and black shorts, and the armbands as well. Oh, so this one on this one does look pretty cool as well. Oh, essentially the Hulk, but with Amadeus Cho's was intelligence and I again, just like the 2099 one, I want to put this in A, but I also don't at the same time. But you know what? This one I'll be generous. It does look pretty cool. Yeah, I'll put it in A. Hey, I'll be generous with this one. But then next up, the last of our comic attires that is the World Breaker, or which, if this design looks familiar, it absolutely should, and we'll get to that. But this is the one from Planet Hulk. But kind of the gladiator design for the Hulk, another iconic look of like the armored arm, or in the armor throughout, and kind of like the gladiator look, and the helmet as well. So this one, on this one I think all honestly this one I gotta put in A as well. This one does look pretty cool, so it's gonna go in A for me. But then next up we get into kind of the media looks, like the like TV shows, movies, stuff like that. Starting with the 1978 TV show. And it was a different time, but Lou Ferrigno as Hulk, it does look kind of cheesy. But at the same time, like I said, it was a different time, and he is jacked to the point where Hulk does look big and beefy. So objectively, I don't think I could put this in the higher tiers, but it is still pretty cool. It has that kind of goofiness to it that you gotta appreciate. It's so this one is gonna go in B. But next up is the 2003 movie. Oh man, oh man. Like, considering Awful Month is now something on the channel where I look at awful movies and stuff, this one is. I'm not doing it for this year's Awful Month, but it is on my radar. We definitely will look at it at some point, but oh man, it's rough. Like the CG, even by 2003 standards, was kind of rough. Design doesn't look horrible, but yeah, the CG and how it looks when it moves and stuff. Sorry. This one's our first C. I think I spoke too soon. Unfortunately. Man, oh man, oh man. And the Hulk would get redeemed in a big way later on, and we'll get to that. But yeah, that movie was. And I feel like I'm being too harsh. Oh. No, I'm leaving it in C. I'm sorry. Hey, it's not a. Uh, uh, yeah, I'm gonna leave it in C. But man, I feel like kind of a bully because it was a different time, and the rest of the movie is kind of But I don't know. But nevertheless, next up is the Incredible Hulk. Technically part of the MCU, not technically, not really. It's kind of weird, but this Hulk design does look really cool. It's definitely a huge step up from this, but looking all veiny, looking intense, and it's looking bold, especially in the scene where they're in the light, where he's fighting General Ross and his tanks and everything, and his troops, I should say. The design does look really good, but too bad they couldn't carry the design over, and obviously because of the copyright issues and everything. But I want to give this Incredible, but I think this will probably go in A. There's a lot of confliction here. I'm conflicted, just like Bruce Banner and the Hulk. But I'm kind of conflicted. Because it looks really good, but I don't think it's in. I don't necessarily. You know what? Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I'm going against the grain. I'm gonna put it incredible. It is a really good look for the Hulk. But then next up is the Avengers look. Maybe not as good as this one, but still looks really solid. Hey, this is Mark Ruffalo's time as Hulk. Hulk and it does look pretty cool. Well, hey, it looks nice and big. It's got the ripped clothing. The clothing here isn't quite as ripped. This just looks like this honestly looks like underwear. And then this one has ripped clothing, but this one ripped clothing. Hulk looks pretty big, pretty beefy. He's got his intense moments as well, especially like fighting off the Chitauri and everything. So this is a pretty good look. So this one I'm gonna put in A. The Hulk, aside from that, hang on, I majorly messed up. Aside from that 2003 movie, the Hulk on the big screen has looked very good. Oh, it's already here. Okay, hey, cool. So, wait a minute. Hang on a second. And so I already had the Avengers here before, or all right, so something got messed up, but nevertheless, the Avengers is an A. Hey, so that's where we're putting it. So, next up is going to be the Age of Ultron on the epic fist bump between Hulk and the Hulkbuster armor. Or otherwise, he's pretty much carrying over this design. Maybe a little bit more on like a little bit more on the lighter green side. I compare this one, although it might just be the lighting. But Hulk still looks pretty good, and him carrying over the design, I think is nice because it does work. Or at least so. This one I'll also put in a B, or not B, A. Excuse me. This one looks pretty good as well. Oh, but then next up is Thor Ragnarok, the Gladiator. And this is the movies version of the Gladiator Hulk, and I do like how it has the elements, obviously from the World Breaker, aka the Planet Hulk look, but then also carries some inspiration from the House of M Hulk design with like the paint and everything. And I didn't quite know where the paint came from, but now I do. Now that we're doing this tier list, now I do. But it does still look really solid. It with like the gladiator gear and stuff. So this one I think is also gonna go in A. It still looks really really good. But then next up is Endgame Hulk. I feel like this design of the Hulk is kind of mixed. Like it's kind of I feel like I used the word polarizing quite a bit, but and maybe a little too much. But I think, and this is like the Hot Toys version of it, so like action figure version of it. But it is kind of in that polarizing category. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. That being the Professor Hulk slash like Smart Art Hulk, where Hulk and Bruce Banner have kind of come to that agreement, and really kind of the character in general. But it still does look pretty cool. This is how he looked in the suit and everything with the Iron Man gauntlet, where where he had the Infinity Stones, but it still does look pretty cool, and and I like the suit. The suit does look pretty nice. It does it does have the Ruffalo isms for the Hulk's design, but also keeping it nice and big and stuff. Have But otherwise, don't think I like it quite as much as the other one. And I don't know if my explanation made any sense at all, but I think I will still at least put it in B there. So it's gonna go in B. But then next up is the Contest of Champions version of Maestro. So Maestro, I believe, is now a playable character. He was like a boss character for a little bit in the Marvel Contest of Champions mobile game, but and otherwise, it's going for more of an armor look instead of just his like traditional vest and pants look like you see right here. But I think the armor does look really cool. And him having like Captain America's shield and Ronan the Accuser's hammer, or as well as I believe that's Guillotine's blade and then Rocket's gun right there. Maestro does still look pretty cool when Maestro is a beast in the game. Hey, Marvel Contest Champions, if you want to sponsor her channel, I'm your guy. You hit me up. You can email me. But nevertheless, as for this look, it does still look pretty cool. So I will put it in. If I'm being sponsored, it's going in incredible, of course. But otherwise, the attire I still do like so I will at least put it in A. It does look pretty cool. But then next up is the Overseer. So this is a Contest of Champions original character, or which is pretty much like a younger version of Maestro, aka a younger version of the Hulk. So aka the Hulk. But anyway, here's the classic attire her looking for. Or pretty much translating it from the other design over here. The only difference being the black hair and the black beard. But I think it still does look pretty cool. It does the Overseer, and having a gauntlet of sorts. Not quite Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, but like a great gauntlet. I believe it is supposed to be Red Skull's gauntlet that he used to harness the cosmic cube. So that one still looks pretty cool as well. So the Overseer is going to go in A. And then last but certainly not least is the Avengers video game version of the Hulk from the 2020 Avengers video game. May rest in peace. He's of course there's a lot of missed potential, but as for the design, I think it does look pretty cool. Like one obviously you can tell it took inspiration from the MCU's design for the Hulk, but I still did pretty cool with it, and it looks really nice. Don't quite know if it's incredible, but it is still it is still the Hulk, and it does look pretty cool. So it's gonna go in A for me. So that is going to do it for this tier list. So to recap, in Incredible we have Immortal and the Incredible Hulk. In A tier we have the World War Hulk, Maestro, Red Hulk, Breaker Apart, Totally Awesome Hulk, World Breaker, Avengers, and Avengers Age of Ultron, Thor Ragnarok, Maestro from the Constant Champions, as well as the Overseer and the Avengers video game. In B tier we have the original Grey Hulk, Joe Fixit, Doc Green, Old Man Logan, Age of Apocalypse, Age of X, Bullet Points, Earth 6160, Earth X, House of M, Infernal Hulk 2099, the 1978 TV show, and Avengers Endgame. Hanging lonely in the C tier is the 2003 movie You Deserved Better. And none of these were consumed with rage, so some pretty solid attires here. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this tier list. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you see who it drops. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on the tier list and my rankings. Do you agree or disagree? And what's your favorite look for the Hulk? But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.